Sean Osley and Leslie Lowe, with content connecting our community. You're watching NonStop Local KHQ at 6.
And we are now approaching the one-year anniversary since the Canfield Mountain ambush tragically took the lives of 2 battalion chiefs and injured a fire engineer in North Idaho. Good evening, I'm Sean Osley. Well, today I spoke with the chief of Cooney County Fire and Rescue. It's been a road of heartache and healing for all of our first responders, for our entire community. Everyone's journey out of what happened is different. So many emotions, so many layers. At the Cooney County Fire and Rescue Training Center, I asked the chief what this community and your support has meant to him and all first responders.
Never in a million years thought we'd have to lean on the community as much as we've had to in the last year, but they've stepped up in every shape of the way, every shape of the word. The amount of love, everything from simple things that are big in a moment of crisis, like a meal, to the endless donations to support the families that have been suffering, and even just the friendly wave that we get as we go down the road. All of those are just expressions of appreciation, and we feel the love from the community. And I don't even know where to begin. Thank you isn't enough because we can't repay it.
Appreciate the chief taking time. Our full conversation coming up in a few weeks. A memorial ceremony to honor fallen firefighters John Morrison and Frank Harwood is planned for June 29th at McEwen Park in Coeur d'Alene. Cooney County Fire and Rescue and the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department will hold public remembrance at the Vista Pavilion. It starts at 10 a.m. You are invited to attend, but officials stress parking and access will be limited. And if you cannot attend, but you want to support them, we will stream that entire ceremony, start to finish, live on SWX. And we are also working on a special 30-minute program at 6:30 that evening to honor the healing as they move forward.
I made the decision that the safest course of action was for Spokane police, not ICE, to try to safely disperse the crowd, try to convince the protesters to leave, and if not, to follow through with arrests of any violation of Spokane Municipal Code.
That was, of course, Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown 1 year ago tonight, speaking to members of the media after Spokane police used smoke canisters to disperse protesters in city streets. Those officers did make dozens of arrests. The incident, the result of an escalation after former Spokane City Councilman Ben Stuckert called for support after 2 men were detained by ICE during an immigration check-in. Protesters assembled to prevent ICE from transporting those 2 men to a holding facility located in Tacoma. During that news conference, both Mayor Brown and Police Chief Kevin Hall stated they were calling for an independent investigative review. Enter the Ombudsman's office. In August, it held a public meeting to hear from people about the tactics used that day, the methods. The Ombuds office received 26 complaints related specifically to June 11th. Since then, nothing of note on the record regarding that investigative review. So NonStop Local KHQ started digging in to learn when an official report would be issued. That's when we found this, the 25 annual Ombuds report as part of the agenda packet for the May 17th meeting, which never happened because it was canceled. In the report, a communication from Ombuds Bart Logue containing 3 paragraphs linked to the investigative review into the June 11th protest. These paragraphs were a first indication that while steps had been taken toward reviewing the incident and what happened, a fully independent investigation could not happen. NonStop Local KHQ's Belle Lewis tracking this story for us tonight. Joins us live in studio. Hi, Belle. More on the why. What did you learn?
Yeah, good evening, Sean. Now, 1 year ago, I was standing on the corner of Washington and Cataldo filming some of those arrests, including former City Council President Ben Stuckert's, and also capturing the law enforcement response. Obviously, SPD responding to this area that evening, leading to smoke being deployed. And Sean, that news conference that you just referenced a moment ago included not just an explanation of how police responded, but the next steps city leadership was calling for in reviewing the tactics used by SPD that night. Bottom line, both Chief Hall and Mayor Brown wanting the review to be independent. The 2025 annual report giving us our first glimpse of the steps towards finalizing that review and the challenges the offices say they faced in conducting an independent investigation. And so I want to read you part of the second paragraph because it's addressing specifically the independent investigation. Quote, while the OPO initiated preliminary steps towards such a review, the OPO was unable to conduct an independent investigation due to restrictions contained within the collective bargaining agreements with the Spokane Police Guild and the Lieutenants and Captains Association, which limits the OPO's authority to observation, review, and certification of internal affairs investigations rather than independent fact-finding. We reached out to the police ombuds for the city of Spokane, Bart Logue, for clarification on his published statement.
We couldn't do the independent investigation, so what we can do, and what is authorized by the collective bargaining agreements, is the closing report process.
The closing report process is a report certified by the ombuds, but generated from internal affairs investigations rather than their own independent fact-finding. Now, I do want to be clear, I sent an email to the Spokane Police Guild to ask about their collective bargaining agreement. I received a call back from a representative saying that they had received a draft and had wanted to add some language to extend the investigation, allowing this independent investigation, but they received an email in January retracting that original memorandum request regarding that internal investigation. Again, that's according to a representative from that Spokane Police Guild. Now, the police ombudsman tells me that the public should have access to the closing report based on the review of that internal affairs document made by those internal affairs documentations in late January. But tonight at 6:30, I'll break down what that report is likely to contain. Reporting in Spokane, Belle Lewis, NonStop Local.
Well, thank you. NonStop Local KHQ also reached out to the two parties calling for that independent review. Of course, Mayor Lisa Brown, Chief Kevin Hall. Belle Lewis did catch up with Chief Hall. You will hear from him tonight. His response at 6:30. Mayor Brown sent us a statement in response. Mayor Brown, quote, believes in and remains committed to this review process, as well as ensuring the OPO maintains its ability for independent reviews. All right, let's take a live look outside for you as we ease our way into the evening hours, and nothing but blue skies. Picture perfect there, warm up on our way, and it felt pretty nice to be out there today. Tori's in for Leslie tonight, and how we looking moving forward. Of course, the weekend on the horizon too.
Yeah, Sean, it's just looking beautiful. Like we saw outside, blue skies, warmer temperatures. That's the trend as we head through this weekend. We do have clouds over the Idaho Panhandle. A couple showers will be moving through for your Friday, but in the meantime, enjoy those beautiful sunny skies. Spokane, Coeur d'Alene, definitely want to get outside and get to walking around. It is just a picture perfect day today. We got clear skies everywhere south of the Canadian border for us here across the inland Northwest. As we head through your day tomorrow, we'll have a couple cloudy skies towards the Idaho Panhandle with increasing showers and thunderstorms activity. However, if you're towards Spokane and as far as Moses Lake, you're seeing nothing but sunshine for tomorrow. We're expecting a pretty breezy day as well. Wind gusts up to about 25 miles per hour for most of the inland Northwest. However, if a thunderstorm does happen to roar across the Idaho Panhandle, wind gusts can be seen up to 40 miles per hour. Sean, back to you.
All right, Tori, thank you. Continuing coverage tonight, the Spokane man who police say fatally shot his wife in front of their children, pleading not guilty to her murder. NonStop Local KHQ's Heidi Miley went to the Spokane County Courthouse today and talked to friends and family. The prosecutor. Good evening, Heidi. What did you find out there?
Yeah, the development today is there's not one but two charges of murder in the second degree for 42-year-old Josiah Ballinger. One reflects that 41-year-old Rachel Ballinger's 9 and 14-year-old sons were present in the home when the gunfire erupted. The other covers gun charges. Now, this started on the 5400 block of North Hawthorne near Rowan Sunday. We're just seeing the video link of Josiah Ballinger in this coverage today, but I was outside the hearing room where the judge was, and also where at least 10 family members, friends, and neighbors packed inside in standing room only. Here now is how Josiah Ballinger responded via a link to the charges.
Murder in the second degree on or about June 7th, 2026. What is your plea, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
To count two, murder in the second degree on or about June 7th, 2026. What is your plea, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Told in the courthouse today that it was the 9-year-old who called 911 saying his stepfather shot Rachel Ballinger in their home, and the child believed that she was already dead. It was the 14-year-old who was able to tell police Josiah Ballinger had taken off, and from his description, officers were able to pull his Jeep over a short distance away where he surrendered. Medical examiner later confirmed it was a gunshot wound to the chest that killed Rachel Ballinger. Now, Spokane County is holding Ballinger on $1 million bond. A friend of the family told me the public is invited to a vigil at 7 p.m. Sunday night near that home on the 5400 block of Hawthorne, as long as they're there to honor Rachel Ballinger and her 2 sons and give the family space to grieve. A pre-trial hearing is set for July 13th. The trial date is set for August 3rd. In studio, I'm Heidi Miley.
Heidi, thank you. We continue to track the potential development of a data center in our region, looking at this from different angles. One thing we're watching is the demand for energy. New reports from 2 Northwest research organizations argue that local utilities are turning to natural gas-powered electricity on the wholesale market. Researchers warn that states like Washington and Oregon are at risk of missing established greenhouse gas reduction targets. They also say Grant County specifically is taking steps to supplementing the energy need with gas. Grant Power Utility District announcing in their January workshop that they are doing research into building additional gas-fired power plants near Moses Lake or Quincy. Still to come here tonight at 6, a game of failure, but a story of perseverance. Noah Schmick will tell you about the unlikely journey of one Spokane Indians player who's climbing the ranks in the minor leagues.
And I'm tracking a sunny start to your Friday with a couple isolated mountain showers and a weekend warm-up on the way. We'll have your full forecast coming up after the break.
Welcome back. Well, the Cheney School District is planning to cut 5th grade supplemental music instruction for the next school year due to the impact on instructional time. District says band and orchestra will be impacted, but core music courses for kindergarten through 5th grade will continue. Spokesperson Jenna Larson reiterated that the cuts are unrelated to budget issues. District is still discussing options for offering band and orchestra outside of the normal school day. It is the end of an era for a certain landmark in Colville, but not in the way you might think. Watch this.
Okay, I was just taking a picture a moment ago, and then I heard this big sound.
Well, those videos were sent to us by Shelley, who stopped by the Leaning Barn. If you're in that area, you know where it is. It's on Hotchkiss Road. You saw the first moments of its eventual collapse. If you've driven through that area, you're probably familiar with the very old building that has been inching toward falling for about 10 years' time. Check out this side-by-side from April to May. Shelley says she's been watching the barn slowly lean since 2014, but she's hardly the only one. Shelley's post on Facebook getting some traction with people sharing memories of the unique roadside attraction. All right, Tori is in for Leslie tonight. The forecast looks fantastic.
Yes, Sean, it looks great. We're expecting sunny skies as we head through your Friday. All the shower activity as of right now staying north of that Canadian border, and not a cloud in the sky for most of the inland northwest. It's just a very pleasant Thursday as we head through the majority of your Thursday afternoon to Thursday late evening. Couple clouds could develop as we head further north towards the Idaho Panhandle. Bonners Ferry may see a cloud or two. Temperature is going to be into the 40s when you wake up tomorrow morning, and it's going to be a sunny start to the day. However, there is an exception to this forecast. If you're anywhere towards the Idaho Panhandle or even into northwestern Washington, we have a higher chance of seeing some thunderstorms in this area. That's just a little bit of instability in this region. So again, Idaho Panhandle could see those showers, maybe brief thunderstorm between about noon tomorrow and into about the 5, possibly even the 6 o'clock hour for the evening. A lot of that dissipates as we lose some of that daytime heating, and we're expecting a pretty breezy day as well across the inland northwest, seeing wind gusts up to about 25 miles per hour. But if you do see a thunderstorm, some of those outflow wind gusts can be up to about 40 miles per hour. Remember, again, that's the Idaho Panhandle into Montana. Everywhere else seeing roughly about a 25 mile per hour gust at max for tomorrow. 75 for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, going to be about average for this time of year. Columbia Basin seeing those 80s. 80s down south, Lewiston, 83 and 77 for a high as we head further towards those northern counties, Kettle Falls into Ione. High pressure ridging is going to start to build up as we head into the next couple of days here. This is going to bring us some well above average temperatures for this time of year, dry conditions as well, and 80s and 90s by the time we get to the early week. I'm talking Monday and Tuesday. We're seeing temperatures closer to the triple digits here across the region. So here's a look at Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, the next 7-day highs. 86 degrees by Tuesday, 88 degrees in Coeur d'Alene by Tuesday, possibly the hottest day of the year so far. Columbia Basin going to be sitting closer to about 100 degrees, which is roughly 15 degrees above average for, again, this time of year. This is going to be critical as we head into the fire season, but also as just the summer approaches. Keep in mind, here's some of those symptoms for heat exhaustion as well as heat stroke, and we're also seeing that you just need to be extremely careful. Make sure to call 911 if there is an emergency with any heat-related illnesses. We are expecting a very breezy Tuesday. Wind gusts up to about 50 miles per hour could be possible, and with some very dry conditions for this time of year, especially dew points and relative humidity values. They're right around 10% relative humidity for Tuesday. This is going to lead to an elevated fire risk. Spokane and Coeur d'Alene also seeing those high winds Tuesday, above average temperatures and low dew points. Again, elevated fire risk Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week. To a safety alert now as temperatures rise, so will the amount of people hitting the water to cool off across the inland northwest. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reporting drowning is the single leading cause of death for children ages 1 through 4. As NonStop Local's KHQ's Melinda Lee found out, swim instructors say keeping kids safe starts with choosing the right swimsuit.
First, go!
Jump in the pool with 3-year-old Nora and her brother August.
Jason, go!
and see why it can be life-saving to start swim lessons at a young age.
When I was about 6 months, my mom got me right in.
Now Samantha Tiemann-Caventa is a mom of 5 offering swim lessons like these out of her South Hill home for children as young as 6 months old.
The thing that really scares me the most is ages 1 to 4 is the #1 cause of death is drowning.
And Samantha says keeping children safe around water also involves choosing the right swimsuit.
I always go after the most neon bright colors that you can possibly do. Because if you are in a pool that is blue backdrop with a blue swimsuit, you're going to have a really hard time seeing that child. But in the lakes, it is extremely important to make sure you have the bright colors, the colors that stand out.
And if you think the child is drowning, she says throw, don't go.
If it's not an adult, you throw, you don't go. So you would use a noodle, something to try to get to them. When people are drowning, you don't know they're drowning. That's the thing. It's not the TV theater version of splashing and loud noises. It's silent and it's quick. And do not put on puddle jumpers. Do not put the ones with the floaties on the arms with the things around their waist. They will think that it keeps them in this prone position and in a straight up and down position. We want them in the prone. We don't want them in this way. We want them in this way. So once they go back in the water, the kids tend to go this way.
Instead of wearable flotation devices, she hopes you teach your child to swim before teaching them to ride a bike. Reporting in Spokane, Melinda Lee, NonStop Local.
Live from the Northern Quest Sports Studio. This is SWX NonStop Local Sports.
In minor league baseball, a promotion to the next level gets you one step closer to your first major league at bat. Noah Schmick was there for the call-up of one Indians player who made a lot of noise in his first game in Spokane.
It kind of felt like opening day a little bit to me, you know, new, fresh start, fresh team, clean slate. You kind of have the opening day jitters a little bit. You know, I had a long first at bat and ended up, you know, hitting the home run on a changeup my first time up, and that was really cool. Like I was kind of just battling, got into a good count my next time up, and kind of let it eat and hit it out to the smaller wall and right. I definitely, you know, wasn't trying to hit 2 home runs by any means in the first game. I was just trying to have good at-bats and enjoy it and have fun. And you know, I'm very thankful to have a game that I'll probably remember forever then.
Jack O'Dowd's instant success shouldn't be that much of a surprise.
I love baseball ever since I was, you know, old enough to hold, you know, the little wiffle ball bat. It's always been what I love to do.
But after his senior year at the University of Texas, he went undrafted and had to find other ways to get noticed.
That summer is when, you know, I started to kind of find my groove again, and coming off a senior year where I didn't play my best, it was good to regroup and get a change of scenery and start to play every day again. And then from there, you know, independent ball kind of was my breakout season.
Jack moved to Billings, Montana to play in the Developmental Pioneer League, and in just one season, he broke the Mustangs' single-season records for home runs and RBI. That earned him a contract with the Colorado Rockies, the same club his dad managed for 15 years and his older brother played for and against in the minor leagues.
I'm lucky to have the experiences in the game that I've had because of my dad and my brother and being around locker rooms, but everybody has pressure, and you know, that's a privilege to be able to be a professional baseball player and try and manage that pressure. So, you know, it's at the end of the day, it's a children's game, and I try and treat it like that.
And in just a few short weeks in Spokane, Jack is raking at the high A level. And if he keeps it up, another promotion is sure to follow.
Just trying to take it one day at a time and enjoy where I'm at right now, enjoy Spokane, and try and just put together good at-bats every day and help the team win. And, you know, I know that the younger Jack would definitely be proud to put the Rockies uniform on, absolutely. And, you know, I just try and just keep stacking days, and, you know, whatever happens, happens.
Out of Vista Stadium, I'm Noah Schmick, SWX.
So fun to see, you know, people's hard work paying off and dreams coming true. It just doesn't get old.
It doesn't at all, and you know there's just years and years of work behind what you're seeing. Yeah, the grind. All right, thanks, AJ.
Thanks, Sean.
Here's what we're going to have at the 6:30. It's 1 year since protesters clashed with Spokane police officers, 30 arrests with 3 federally convicted a year later. Now we're asking the chief of police about where the investigation into that day stands. It's our 360 at 6:30. The 6:30 underway in 60 seconds.
Sean Oakley with in-depth 360 coverage of content connecting our community. This is NonStop Local KHQ at 6:30.
Tonight marks 1 year since the June 11th anti-ICE protests outside the Homeland Security building on Cataldo, the downtown area. It led to dozens of arrests and later federal charges. Good evening and welcome to the 6:30. Good to be with you tonight. I'm Sean Owsley. Our team here at KHQ tracking the escalation at the facility that day that then lasted for hours well into the night. We captured the protesters sitting in front of the white bus designed by ICE to transfer 2 Venezuelan immigrants to the Tacoma facility. We also heard from former City Council President Ben Stuckert, whose Facebook post is widely regarded as the prompt for the protests. After several hours, we also captured Stuckert's arrest and the arrival of local law enforcement, Spokane Police Department, Spokane County Sheriff's Office. Eventually, officers deployed smoke and pepper balls to move that crowd, the escalation resulting in dozens of arrests. Later that night, in a joint news conference between Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown and Spokane Police Chief Kevin Hall, they offered some explanation as to SPD's response, while also alluding to future reviews as to the tactics implemented that night. Days later, Mayor Brown, Chief Hall officially calling for an independent review to be run by the Office of Police Ombuds. Over the last year, NonStop Local KHQ tracking the status of that report, but no significant updates as to publication date or contents shared. Earlier today, we checked again and we found this in the May agenda packet supporting documents for a meeting that ultimately didn't happen. This is the unpublished 25 annual review. A statement from Ombudsman Bart Logue, his first publicly written remarks we've seen contained on page 5 of that document. 3 paragraphs speaking specifically to the June 11th investigative review, the challenges and the development of a closing report. Importantly, the Ombudsman saying his office unable to conduct an independent investigation for the requested investigative review. NonStop Local KHQ's Belle Lewis on this story for us tonight. Good evening, Belle. You join us now from where that protest took place a year ago tonight. Walk everyone through the challenges the Ombudsman outlined in delivering the independent investigation portion he claims city leaders were requesting.
Yeah, good evening, Sean. I was standing right here a year ago watching some of that law enforcement respond, the SPD coming in just about an hour from the time we're at right now. And again, deploying that smoke, pushing those protesters back. But long after the smoke left the air in this area, there were still questions as to the conduct of police and the tactics used. And in fact, Spokane Mayor Lisa Brown and Chief Kevin Hall asking for an independent review of the events on June 11th.
An independent investigative review into June 11th. In the 2025 yearly review, 3 paragraphs describing some challenges in conducting a, quote, independent investigative review formally requested by the mayor. The ombuds write, while the OPO initiated preliminary steps towards such a review, the OPO was unable to conduct an independent investigation due to restrictions contained within the collective bargaining agreements with the Spokane Police Guild and the Lieutenants and Captains Association, which limit the OPO's authority to observation, review, and certification of internal affairs investigations rather than independent fact-finding. Furthermore, the annual review reads, after several months of effort, focus shifted to the closing report process, which occurs after all internal administrative functions are complete. The June 11th incident highlighted the practical implications of limitations in the OPO's authority, particularly in complex events involving multiple agencies, command-level decision-making, and significant public impact that would have benefited from independent review. The big question here, what's the difference between an independent investigation and an independent review that leads to a closing report?
We certified the investigation, so we have a lot of information on which to draw our conclusions. And then we're looking at police policies, training, and procedures to see if there are recommendations which we can make which might improve the police service to our city.
An independent review looks like this.
The 3 words that we use are timeliness, thoroughness, and objectivity.
Internal Affairs at the SPD will review a case, taking a look at relevant evidence and make their final determinations. And then
the Ombuds office is set up so that they review all of these investigations, these complaints, after the investigation has been completed.
So is it really to just look at that final product and say this meets the standards for, timely and thorough, just to add that added layer of this is a good investigation?
Yes.
The Ombudsman limited, Ombudsman Brad Logan, Chief Hall say, and what they can and cannot comment on in the review. And in the reports for the protests on June 11th, Logue says
you should see a comprehensive review of the police department's response to there. I've worked a pretty extensive timeline in regards to that, and then some assessments on recommendations, which I think might help the police department as they move forward into the future.
Bottom line, the report we can expect not going to include officer discipline or any independent fact-finding. And Chief Hall says that was his intention from the beginning.
There's a difference between an investigation and a review, and I know it's nuanced, but there is a difference. What we discussed was we were more interested in more of a sentinel event review, looking at systems and policies as opposed to individual acts.
The review of June 11th, 2025 to contain higher level suggestions for policy or tactical changes and disciplinary action against specific officers already taken place after the SPD's internal affairs investigation.
Can you confirm if any disciplinary action had to be taken as a result of the internal affairs investigation into June 11th?
Into June 11th? I don't believe there was. I would have to go back and look at the internal affairs investigation. If there was, it was low level, so it wouldn't have reached my desk.
SPD also saying that they haven't waited for the official review, set to be published next month, to make some changes following last year's protest.
In the past, what they weren't used to doing is when they did use force, it wasn't immediately run up so that people in the command post knew that force had been used and what type of force had been used and why. That didn't happen on June 11th last year. Once we figured out that was a communication gap, we fixed that immediately.
Still, hearing from the Office of the Ombuds that they hope that in the future, the ability to conduct independent investigations, not just reviews, will be granted.
I think if ever the mayor and the police chief ask for their oversight agency to take an independent look into something, I think the city needs to be in a place where we can do that.
So, Sean, we are going to see that report published more than a year after that original incident. But again, it's going to be a high-level look at the tactics used on that day. It's not going to name any specific officers or give any opinion as to their conduct on that day. Again, that report set to be shared with the public at the end of July. Reporting in Spokane, I'm Belle Lewis, NonStop Local.
Belle, thank you. We also want to say that we did reach out to Mayor Lisa Brown for comment, as she also called for the independent review. Her office did respond with a statement. Mayor Brown, quote, believes in and remains committed to this review process, as well as ensuring the OPO maintains its ability for independent reviews. Big Six headlines tonight. A Coeur d'Alene man sentenced to nearly 4 years in federal prison on gun charges despite a live explosive being found in his home. Police and Idaho probation officers visited Sean Klein's home on West Fairway Drive in December of last year. There were multiple weapons inside, drugs, and a homemade pipe bomb. While the Spokane bomb squad neutralized the explosive, Klein admitted to officers that he built it and he intended to use it. However, just 1 month later, the charges against Klein were dismissed. He was federally indicted. The grand jury charging him with unlawful possession of a firearm and owning an unregistered gun. Court documents say his county charges were dismissed due to a lack of evidence, but it's unclear why he was not charged in relation to the pipe bomb. We're approaching now, believe it, 1 year since the Canfield mountain ambush that tragically took the lives of 2 decorated battalion chiefs and injured a fire engineer in North Idaho. Today I drove out to Post Falls and I spoke with the chief at Kootenai County Fire and Rescue, as well as Captain Seth Hohenstreet, who was integral in responding that day and supporting the families. Here's a portion of our conversation.
The construction workers at Highway 41 stop and take off their helmets and put it over their heart. I mean, I just honestly brought tears to my eyes, you know, and it was people, they're with us. I mean, they might not have been there that day, they might not have been with us in the station, they might not have been with us back here making the plans that none of us ever want to make, but they knew that we were there. And then the other would be, I like to call it hugs and high fives, you know, the bro hugs that you get, you know, just to see people to have conversations and see people come together that maybe didn't necessarily have a closeness before, but you look at each other different now. And so to have those moments where you walk into a room and it used to just be, hey, how you doing? Now there's a bro hug that goes with it. There's a connection there that's we're more aware of those relationships, and we hold them a little closer than we probably did before.
A memorial ceremony to honor fallen firefighters John Morris and Frank Harwood is planned for June 29th at McEwen Park in Coeur d'Alene. Kootenai County Fire and Rescue and the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department will hold the public remembrance at the Vista Pavilion starting at 10 a.m. You are invited to attend, but they say parking and access will be limited. If you want to support them and see it, watch it, but you can't make it, we will stream start to finish the ceremony live on SWX. We're also preparing a special at 6:30 that evening to honor the healing as they move forward. The criminal trial for his former Spokane County Sheriff's deputy is expected to start early next week. Today, the defense team for Clay Hilton giving us a preview of their strategy. In this document filed today, attorneys for Hilton say the former Spokane County Sheriff's deputy intends to claim self-defense in the case, intends to seek indemnification and reimbursement from the city and the state. Hilton was fired by the sheriff's office a year after this incident, where he's captured on body camera video removing Kevin Hinton from his vehicle at a Spokane Valley park after hours. In a civil complaint, Hinton claims Hilton used excessive force, resulting in serious injuries, outlining broken ribs and a punctured lung. Clay Hilton says he took these steps after Hinton refused to provide ID. Jury selection is scheduled for Monday. Right now, President Trump saying we are one step closer to a deal with Iran. Pulse anchor Bradley Warren has been tracking this all day into the evening for us. Hi, Bradley. The president claiming that high-level Iranian officials have been in communication. What have you learned?
Yeah, well, Sean, I mean, obviously a much different conversation than what you and I were having last evening. Last night we saw rockets being fired. This evening we're seeing things on pause. As the president says, those conversations are taking place, and as a result, he will not only not attack Iran this evening, which he promised to do, but he also says that that deal is very close. Last night, the president ordered the military to fire roughly 49 Tomahawk missiles at Iran, striking air defense and communication infrastructure. But today in the Oval Office, we heard a different tone from the president.
We just made a great settlement of the war with Iran, and we're going to be subject to finalization of documents, which should get done over the next few days. We'll probably have a signing maybe in Europe.
Yeah, so the president said that he not only wanted to make a deal, but the vice president was available to go to Europe as early as this weekend to make the signing of that deal possible. Of course, after the president made the announcement, we saw oil prices ease. You'll remember, though, last week, and again, this isn't the first time we've sort of been in this realm, if you will. Last week, the president said we were close to a deal, but Israeli strikes in Lebanon and a downed U.S. helicopter that forced the United States to respond derailed things. A readout from the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu's office today, shows that the president spoke with the Israeli leader and that they both not only came to the consensus that this deal would be good, but that Israel would support a potential agreement with Iran. So we're going to watch this right now. Of course, it's very volatile. Things could change at any moment. If they do change, I'll join you back here on your evening broadcasts and, of course, throughout the course of the day on The Pulse, where we are tracking things as they develop in real time. Sean?
All right, Bradley, a lot to get to, and he will keep a close eye, be working well into the evening as usual. Bradley, thank you. Across the country, 12 men are in custody after a broad-scale human trafficking sting related to a massive crime crackdown ahead of the World Cup. Authorities say the men responded to online ads and traveled to meet minors who they believe to be between the ages of 13 and 15. Arrests were made after they arrived at a hotel room and made payment offering anywhere between $300 to $800. Suspects range in age from 20 to 50. Officials say the sting is directly tied to new federal funding provided specifically for FIFA-related efforts.
And now that we know more people are coming, we know that while the good people come, and they want to come and enjoy our beautiful community, this magic city that we have, these incredible games that we're hosting, we know when the good guys come, the bad guys come too.
Their goal is to identify and arrest people seeking to exploit children before visitor numbers increase, with the help of more stings, public awareness campaigns throughout the tournament. Local Egyptian restaurant opened their doors in Spokane about a month before Team Egypt arrived here in town, gearing up for the 26th World Cup. Restaurant ownership says Team Egypt has positively impacted their business, even without the team stopping in. NonStop Local KHQ's Noah Bolter speaking today with restaurant ownership about the impact that they're seeing and feeling.
In Egypt, this is very popular, you know, like everybody eat everywhere.
profiteers of food not common to the area.
It's something good, it's something fresh, you know, it's made to order, so sometimes take time, we're busy, but it's worth it.
Food so unique, it took time to find a chef.
So that was a struggle, first finding the right chef to prepare it and finding what ingredients should we put into this.
But food that looks so good, it has people changing travel plans.
Our flight was going to leave here at like 7, but I wanted to come here and eat. So we decided to, instead of flying, to make it a road trip so that we could come here.
Wait, did you like cancel your flight?
Yeah. Yeah.
That decision despite having no idea what the food tastes like.
Usually no. Whatever looks good online is what I order.
Ownership says when they decided on this location, they didn't know Team Egypt would be here, but it didn't take long for the media storm to follow.
So many news crews and media have come by, so it's been amazing.
Getting customers in the door to try a whole new experience.
Most of the customers never tried this before, and we'd like to try it because, you know, now it's not easy to travel to go to Egypt to try, so we bring Egypt to you here.
In Spokane, I'm Noah Bolter, NonStop Local.
And ownership tells us they still hope to serve food to Team Egypt sometime for their leave. They've not been able to get in contact with them yet. Let's hope that is remedied. Much more to come tonight here on the 6:30. Stock markets up across the board today in preparation for tomorrow's possibly record-breaking IPO from SpaceX. Details on that ahead.
And I'm tracking a sunny day across the inland Northwest for your Friday, along with gusty winds and a weekend warm-up on the way. We'll have your full forecast coming up shortly. Welcome back. Here's a final look at your forecast. Those conditions are just sunny across the inland northwest. All the showers are going to stay north of the Canadian border tonight, as well as all of those isolated thunderstorms. As we head through your day and into your late evening, we're going to see, again, nothing but clear skies. Make sure to get outside. Enjoy some stargazing, go for a walk. It is a perfect night tonight. Temperature is going to be into the 40s towards Chewelah, 50 degrees for Moses Lake, and 45 towards Pullman. As we head through your Friday, most of us seeing sunny skies. However, there is a brief chance of some of those showers and thunderstorm activity for the Idaho Panhandle as well as northeastern Washington. So if you do see a thunderstorm, remember, go indoors. Wind gusts could get up to 40 miles per hour during one of those brief thunderstorms, but everyone's seeing a little bit of a breezy day tomorrow. Some of those wind gusts up to about 25 miles per hour. Definitely a possibility as we have this system just continuously tracking further off towards the east. Temperatures tomorrow going to be in the average about 75 degrees towards Spokane, Coeur d'Alene. We have high pressure ridging building up just off the coast. This will keep us toasty through the weekend, 80s and 90s for early next week. Some areas like the Columbia Basin going to top out closer to about 100 degrees by the time we get to Tuesday. Spokane and Coeur d'Alene into the mid to upper 80s for next Tuesday, possibly the hottest day of the year so far. So just remember, keep an eye on your friends. Heat exhaustion as well as heat stroke is very critical, and you want to take action immediately if you notice any of these signs. And this is what the protocol you're going to want to follow for that. Call 911 if symptoms do escalate. Here's a look at your Tuesday. Not only is it going to be extremely hot, it's going to be extremely windy too. 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible, extremely dry conditions. So that's an elevated fire risk for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week.
All right, thanks very much, Tori. Well, bad news if you're in the market for a home right now, at least a little tougher than usual. 30-year fixed rate rose to 6.52% this week. Meantime, the Federal Reserve under pressure to raise its interest rates to lower its battle inflation, which is at its highest point in 3 years. Consumer news and a popular pool toy being recalled nationwide. The Consumer Product Safety Commission announced a recall for about 254,000 sleuth dive sticks. Officials say the hard plastic toys violate a federal ban and pose serious impalement hazard. Recalled toys were sold online at retailers like Amazon, Temu, and Target. If you own them, contact the company where you bought them. They'll either work out a refund or get you a replacement that is in fact safe. All right, checking your business headlines tonight. Here's Angelica Peebles.
This is CNBC News Now. I'm Angelica Peebles. Markets were up sharply across the major indexes in Thursday trading after President Trump said he expects to sign a deal with Iran in the next few days. The Dow gained 930 points, the S&P 500 was up 127, and the tech-heavy NASDAQ was the biggest gainer, up 2.5% or 640 points. Inflation facing U.S. businesses surged in May to the highest level since November of 2022. The Labor Department released the Producer Price Index Thursday, which gauges inflation before it gets to consumers, and it was up 6.5% in May from a year ago. The hotter-than-expected reading comes a day after the Consumer Price Index also showed the highest inflation in 3 years, with both largely driven by increases in energy prices brought on by the Iran war. And as the major indexes surged Thursday, Wall Street is waiting for another catalyst Friday. That's the debut of SpaceX on the public markets. The Elon Musk-run company plans to market its IPO at $135 per share on the NASDAQ with a valuation of $1.75 trillion. That would make it the biggest IPO in history and could potentially make Musk the world's first trillionaire. That's today's CNBC News Now.
And tonight's one good thing, and it's a little break from the norm of what we usually do in this slot. For 1 month, people of dozens of countries who disagree about many things unite around one event, the World Cup. For the next 4 weeks, billions of people from different countries, languages, religions, and backgrounds will cheer, celebrate, and even cry together. 26th FIFA World Cup kicking off today with the inaugural match in Mexico City, Mexico taking on South Africa. In a time when there seems to be so much division, this event reminding us how much we all still share. In Seattle, the host city flag was hoisted atop the Space Needle. The first game in Seattle is on Monday, where Team USA plays there next Friday. It's going to be a fun few weeks, once every 4 years. Hope you take some time to just soak it in and de-stress and enjoy it. That's a wrap on the night in the 6:30. I'm Sean Alsey. Have a great night. Take care.